Hey there. If you're a parent trying to get through a really high conflict legal situation, you already know how incredibly stressful it is. Today, we're going to talk about a specific legal tactic that can throw a whole lot of extra chaos into the mix. It's called forum shopping. We're going to break down exactly what that means, the real cost it has for your child, and then give you a practical playbook for how to handle it. So let me just ask you this straight up. Does it ever feel like your case is being played like some kind of strategic game, where the moves seem less about finding a stable solution for your family and more about just gaining leverage? If you're nodding your head right now, then you are absolutely in the right place. All right, let's dive right into what we're going to call the court shopping game. Because honestly, that's what it can feel like, a chess match being played in the hallways of the legal system. So what is this thing called forum shopping anyway? Let's break down the lingo so you can really understand the playing field. Okay, so at its core, forum shopping is basically when one party tries to pick the location for a legal fight because they think they'll get a better result there. Now, sometimes this can be a totally legitimate legal strategy, when a few different courts could all technically hear the case. But it can also be used as a really abusive tactic to get an unfair edge or just to create chaos and instability. To really get this, there are two words you need to know. First up is jurisdiction. This one is fundamental. It's asking the big question: does this court even have the legal power to make a decision in this case? The simplest way to think about it is, are we even in the right state? And that brings us to the second word, venue. So if jurisdiction is about being in the right state, venue is all about being in the right county or the right specific courthouse inside that state. It's a much more local question, but it's just as crucial when it comes to a child's stability. And then you've got this one's close cousin, judge shopping. This is when someone tries to game the system, maybe by filing a case, dropping it, and then refiling it, all in an attempt to land in front of a judge they think will be more favorable. And as you can probably guess, courts really do not like this. So what does this actually look like in the wild? Well, here are 5 of the most common patterns. Just take a look and see if any of these ring a bell. You've got the race to file, trying to lock in a location first, or filing in a place that has really flimsy ties to the child's actual life, or even trying to get a do-over with a new judge after a ruling they didn't like. These are all signs the game might be on. But here's the thing, and it's the most important part of all of this. This is not just a legal chess match between two adults. These moves, these strategies, they have a huge, hidden, and really damaging cost for the kids who are stuck right in the middle. Let's talk about that. This quote, it just gets right to the heart of it. While the adults are focused on legal procedure, filings, and motions, the child is experiencing something completely different. For them, it's just raw uncertainty and threat. It just shows you the massive gap between the world of law and a child's actual reality. So let's break down that harm. Cognitively, in their minds, this constant upheaval creates so much confusion. A kid might be wondering, where am I going to be living next week? Who's picking me up? They can even start blaming themselves for the conflict. And it forces them to live in this state of constant vigilance, kind of like walking on eggshells all the time. And emotionally, the toll is just immense. It creates this constant fear and anxiety about what's coming next. But it also puts kids in this terrible, painful position called a loyalty bind, where they feel like they're being forced to pick a side. That is just an agonizing place for any child to be. And all of that internal stress and turmoil, it has to go somewhere. And a lot of times it comes out in their behavior. You might see a child start acting out at school, or maybe they pull away from their friends, or even start acting younger than they are. These aren't just a kid being bad. They are giant red flags signaling that they are completely overwhelmed. And get this, the damage isn't just psychological. The source material is really clear on this. Being in a state of chronic conflict literally activates a child's physical stress response system, that fight or flight mode. And living like that, constantly on alert, can have real, measurable effects on their physical health in the long run. Okay, so we've defined the problem, and we've talked about its very serious impact. Now for the most important part. What can you actually do about it? Let's switch gears from the problem to the solution. Here's a practical, non-escalatory playbook for how you can respond. Here it is, your 5-step plan. The whole strategy is to spot the problem right away, act fast, and then build your case around objective, undeniable facts about your child's life. From there, you ask the court for a simple, clean fix, all while making your child's stability the #1 priority. So what exactly is in this center of the child's life packet? The key here is objective proof. You're not arguing opinions, you are presenting cold, hard facts. Things like school records, where their doctors are, childcare receipts. All of these things come together to create an undeniable map of where your child's life is actually anchored. And finally, let's talk about framing. Once you've got your facts together, how do you actually present them to the court? The secret is to translate your concern for your child into the language the court understands and cares about, things like efficiency and stability. Here's your opener. A phrase like this is like a secret code for judges. Threshold issue tells them this has to be solved first. Instability points directly to the harm being done to the child, and duplicative litigation, well, that tells them that this is wasting everyone's time and money. It's an incredibly powerful and efficient way to frame the problem. And this is how you anchor your whole argument. See how the focus here isn't on what's convenient for you or what the other parent's motives are? Nope. It is laser focused on the child's concrete day-to-day reality. That makes your position so much stronger and much harder to argue against. Now, if there are cases happening in two different places at once, this is the phrase you want to use. It speaks directly to a judge's worst nightmare, which is chaos. No court wants to make an order that completely contradicts an order from another court. You're basically pointing out that the other person's actions are creating a systemic mess that the court itself is going to want to clean up. And listen to the power in how you frame your request. You're not in there demanding to win. You're asking for a procedural fix. This makes you look like the reasonable party who's just offering a sensible solution to reduce conflict and help the court run more smoothly. And that really brings us to the final, most important thought. The ultimate goal of all of this, of every tactic and phrase we've talked about, isn't about winning some legal game. It's about changing the entire point of the game itself. So I'll leave you with this to think about. How can you, using these tools, shift the court's focus away from the parent's fight and put it back where it always should have been, on your child's fundamental need for stability?